Hello, this is Christina, and today I'm going to be talking about the downsides of not worrying about money. And this is not like those apps or not apps, advertisements that you see on your phone that are like, oh, the downsides of losing weight and being so thin. Gosh. And it's, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Those are stupid. No, these are actual consequences of not worrying about money that can have a negative impact on your life. A very negative impact, I might add. So, buckle down. All right, so number one would be, and these are not like ordered in any specific way, it's just as I come up with them, basically. Number one, I do not tolerate the amount of stress and bad mental health consequences that comes with job hunting as much. So this can I'm gonna say that this kind of like all fits together into, basically you don't tolerate prep as much from the employment industry, period. So in today's society, as I'm sure many of you are all aware, AI has kind of taken over the job market and just made it gone to shit. And the job application process online basically amounts to almost a lottery in a way, unless you pay to get your resume, optimized for those special keywords that, the job application scanning programs like, and then you have maybe a little bit of a higher chance of getting a job. So getting a job is essentially pay to win. Great. Yeah, I don't tolerate that anymore. In the past, I had to go through the process where, I sent out many job applications to jobs that I thought I was qualified for, some that I, was a little bit of a stretch, but for the most part, like, these jobs were what I felt I could, reasonably handle. And that's another thing with jobs these days, right? They all expect you to have like 5 years of experience coming out of school. It was really a drain on my mental health. It worsened my depression, my anxiety, and I procrastinated a lot just trying to get through it. So now I'm like, there are better ways to spend my time than, basically beating my head against the metaphorical wall of job hunting. And as far as, going and having a actual job would be, I would say this applied a little bit as well to the only job that I had, the only full-time job I should say, where I was not willing to tolerate the kind of work that was not, basically it just wasn't conducive to my mental health. So sorry. I graduated from college with a computer science degree, in bachelor's in computer science, and I was employed as a software engineer, but the amount of programming that I actually did was very little. I basically got relegated to tech support, which amounted to doing tickets day in and day out, and that was something I could not tolerate because it was just so boring. And I mean, I'll admit, like, my pride got in the way too. I just felt insulted that I was doing this really basic work that I feel like, you don't even need a college degree to do. Anybody who has, like a decent experience on the computer could handle that kind of work. And I was also concerned for my future because, I wanted to be in actual coding positions, and every day that I spent not coding meant I was, falling behind other people who were doing that work and, getting more experience and more knowledge, and ultimately would be more qualified for, the jobs. And as far as entry level goes, I mean, they're always going to favor college graduates, right? Because they're younger and they don't know that you're not supposed to do the kind of crap that jobs get away with these days. But yeah, that would be one of the things that had the biggest impact on my life. So number 2, consequence of not worrying about money. You probably will find, in my experience, I found that I just am not quite as productive, I would say, as I used to be. And this is kind of I would say I am more productive than I used to be, but I'm also not more productive in a way. So now I am making my money through selling art. And this is the work that, like, I am much more happy doing. I am, it comes to me much easier, and, it stimulates my brain in the right way with the creative work that I do. And because of that, it's much easier for me to actually get work done. So I am more productive in that sense. However, now that I'm not putting money up on this high pedestal, I'm actually, I'm more often starting to prioritize other things than just working for money. So, for example, a lot of people these days, especially as an entrepreneur, they basically work nonstop, because work basically is what gets you money. Not really, but that's kind of what the overall sentiment is. And in my case, I will, I'll take a day off to just play video games with my fiance, or I will, instead of working, I will go out somewhere with my fiance, either to have a little bite to eat or to, like, this Thursday, we are gonna go to the zoo, and that's gonna be, it's like an hour there and then an hour back, and it's a 2-hour long event, so it's gonna pretty much take up our entire evening. And yeah, I'm deciding to do that instead of working to get more money. And I just don't feel like that kind of pressure anymore to just constantly be working. I feel it a little bit, but not as much. And the obvious downside to this is that I am probably making less money than I could be. And I'm still trying to, to do things that will get me more income. Like, I'm not just happy with where I am. I do want to make more income, but I'm not as worried about it. I am not beating myself up over, I should be working right now. I am prioritizing other things like my relationship with my fiance, prioritizing things like just experiencing life. Going to the zoo is, we're going out for a discounted event, so just paying a little money to just go and, enjoy what there is. A lot of people in the hustle culture that I've seen kind of, promote this idea of work now and relax later. And I'm of the mindset that, life comes hard and fast, and, you want to live a life, in my opinion, that you're actually really enjoying, regardless of how much money you have, because things happen, and you could spend your whole life hustling only to die in a car accident right before you make it. So it's not likely, but it's possible. And plus, I just don't think hustling is worth it, even if you do, get money for if you pay off for the rest of your life. You might be different. Other people might be like, I'm willing to just throw away, I'm willing to prioritize making money, being productive, over, spending today, or, spending time on other things today, so that I can have that freedom later on. That's perfectly fine. It's just not for me. So, yeah, number one was I don't tolerate the overall toxic culture of the job market. Excuse me. Which means that, I'm not in the job market. I'm not getting the sort of money and benefits that comes with a job. And then the second thing is that I just woke up a while ago, if that wasn't obvious. I don't put as much focus on being productive as I used to be. It used to kind of just feel like this pressure, but now I don't. And the obvious downside to that is that I'm also making less money. So Is there anything else that I want to add to that? I will say number 3, another major consequence of not worrying as much about money is probably the family and friends around you, because of the society that and culture that we have today. They probably do put more emphasis on money, so you will likely get a lot of pressure and backlash from those people who expect you to make those sacrifices and expect you to be making more money. I have family who, worries about me because I don't make as much money. I just pretty much have the family, but I'm sure, there's also a social thing around not making as much money, right? People look down on those who are in a more impoverished situation because they think they're lazy and not motivated to do work, which is probably true in some ways, and then in some ways it's just people either won't tolerate or can't tolerate the sort of toxic culture that comes with a lot of workplaces. But as far as closer associations like family and friends, I received, especially coming out of college, there was a lot of pressure, to get a job. It took me about 6 months to get a job. I don't know why. It's probably just, a result of the job market, as I said, with AI, and not really getting, lucky with the job applications I made. And that's kind of crazy to say, right? Like, computer science was one of the, I don't know if it is as much anymore because AI is kind of stepping in, but computer science was, absolutely one of the highest demand jobs, and even with a bachelor's degree, and a 3.8 GPA, I should add, it just was not enough to get me a job right away. It took me 6 months. Granted, my social anxiety back then was also really, really bad, and unfortunately, social anxiety can really, really cripple you in that area. But yeah, it took me a long time, and during that time I had to deal with a lot of pressure to keep job searching, to do more and more and more, and there was just a lot of stress around it, and today family is inquiring on my finances, and that's not something that I really want to talk about because, frankly, I know that my sort of lifestyle is just not what they expect that it should be as an independent woman, So I think that's a good place to stop for now. So, sum it all up. Number 1, don't tolerate the job market as much, so less job opportunity. Number 2 is not being as productive, prioritizing other things over just making money, therefore you're making less money. And then number 3 is the backlash from friends and family who expect that you should be making more and are incredibly stressed out over, you know, not having that much money. So yeah, that's all. Well, that's all I can think about for now. And yeah, I guess I'll just close it off here. Let me know what you think, if this helped you any, if it maybe opened your eyes and helped you decide on how you want to look at money moving forward. All right, see ya.